before we get started and start talking about the medical genomics program, I wanted to take a step back for a second and just talk a little bit about what is medical genomics. So you're all here because you saw something that piqued your interest in terms of this info section in terms of the MHC and medical genomics. But what is medical genomics? So genomics involves understanding, interpreting, and harnessing all of the information that's contained within an organism's DNA. And with advances in sequencing technology that have been made over the last decade or so, we're now at a point where this information is more readily available than it ever has been before. And this has had really huge implications in research labs where scientists are making new discoveries all the time using genomics. And now it's made its way into hospitals and clinics to patients' bedsides where clinicians can use this information to make differences in patients' lives. And this is what medical genomics is. It's an emerging discipline which uses an individual's genomic information to help inform decisions about their clinical care. So we know now more about the human genome and how our genetic information affects our health now more than ever. And at the same time, research scientists are making new discoveries and developing new technologies. But the really fast-paced nature of this field and of all of these advances is creating a widening knowledge gap between the genomics research that's being taking place in the labs and implementing these technologies in the clinic. So with that in mind, why do a master's in medical genomics? So our mission is I'll just say, why do a master's in medical genomics? Again, the reason why this program was created now a number of years ago is because there was a need that was identified for professionals who can generate, integrate, and interpret genomic data. And our mission is to provide students with unique training and learning opportunities in this field to teach practical and theoretical aspects of modern genomics and genetics with a strong focus on its clinical application. And we want to provide students with directly actionable skills that we know they'll need in the field, and also career enabling experiences so that they have the tools that they need to get those jobs that they want to find when they graduate. So with that in mind, what will you learn in this medical genomics program? So this is a general overview of the course structure in this program. So this program consists of a number of lecture, discussion, and project-based courses. And notably, there's no graduate thesis in this program. This is a major difference between the medical genomics program and maybe some of the other graduate programs that you may be familiar with in your home departments. There's a lot more information. I just want to point out a lot more information on all of these courses on our departmental website. So please check that out to find more information about all of these individual courses. That being said, so this is the overall structure of the two-year medical genomics program. So in your first year, you'll be taking two highly intensive courses that equate to a full-time course load. The first year is devoted to learning all of the core competencies in the field. So you'll be taking courses in human genetics, biological statistics with a focus on bioinformatics, and genomic methodologies. In the second year, this focuses on big picture application courses. So you'll be talking a lot about how to communicate this genetic and genomic information that you have been learning about, and also some of the legal and ethical implications of genomics. And the program culminates with a capstone practicum placement. In addition, during the program, you'll take 4 short elective courses that are all listed down here. So the capstone practicum placement is something I know that a number of students or prospective students are interested in and want to find out more about. The capstone practicum placement is an opportunity for you to explore a particular area in the field of medical genomics in a professional setting. So the program has a number of established partners who our students have worked with in the past and currently work with during their capstone practicum placement. And this includes clinical diagnostic labs, clinical research labs, industry, pharmaceutical industry, biotechnology startup companies, government agencies, and I've listed other there because there are other organizations that we've been associated, that the program is associated with, and that students then also are interested in doing their practicum with. So these are some of our practicum partners that the program has. And the types of positions that students do for their practicum, here I've listed some of them. So students will work in genome or variant analysis. They'll work as bioinformaticians in bioinformatics. They'll work in clinical research. Sometimes we have students who work in commercial development or strategic planning for companies. And again, I've listed other there because this is by no means a full list of all of the types of positions that students undertake. Students also have the opportunity for creating their own practicum and seeking out that practicum on their own in a self-directed placement. And you'll have an opportunity to hear more about the type of placements that students do in the panel discussion that will be happening after when you hear from some current students. So what can you do with this degree? This is one of the big goals of our program, is to really prepare graduates with these career enabling skills for immediate practical implementation. So meaning that we want our graduates to be able to walk out the door of this program and secure that job that they want. With that in mind, we know from where our graduates and our alumni are currently working that our graduates are ideally suited for work in clinical diagnostic labs, in clinical research labs, implementing the tools of genomic medicine and filling this growing need in the realm of genome and variant analysis and bioinformatics. We also know that our graduates are attracted to publicly funded enterprises and private companies that are generating and interpreting genomic data, either for direct-to-consumer delivery or for the clinic. And based on the program's strong emphasis on both verbal and written communication, our graduates are also really well suited to work in a variety of science communication roles, project management, consulting, and health policy roles. Now, some of our graduates or some of our students are already clinicians or already working in the clinical field. These graduates who these students will enter into the program already established in their professional practice or with a clear clinical trajectory. They're expected to finish the program and complete the program, and then return to their clinical training or their clinical practice in some sort of new capacity, incorporating genomics into their practice. In addition, we know that some of our students decide to pursue further education after this degree. And so we have alumni in the program, from the program, who are currently or who have pursued degrees in medicine. So they've gone on to medical school. We have students pursuing alumni pursuing PhDs, and also pursuing genetic counseling degrees. And then finally, I'm going to point out here, we have this and category. And we also recognize and that this field is really rapidly changing. And so the jobs that currently exist may not actually be there. There's an evolving, the jobs are actually evolving. And so so in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, the jobs where our graduates are actually working, they may actually not exist yet, and they may have evolved. And so we are preparing students to be able to enter this rapidly evolving field and to be able to grow their careers with the field. So if you're interested in this program, the next couple of slides, I'm going to walk through the application process. So who we're looking for, what do you actually need to submit, how do you need to prepare? And I'll note here, all of this information is on our program website. I think Martina's going to put some of these links in the chat as they pop up around here. So if you have any questions, I really encourage you to first go to the website, but also, ask any questions you have. Reach out to the program if you have any questions as well. So first of all, who can apply to this program? So we have two streams of students entering this program. So we have a clinical stream and a lab stream. So the clinical stream, these are students who have a prior degree or are in the process of completing a degree, which qualifies them to work with patients in the clinic. So these can be students with a PharmD, a degree, a PDEP accredited bachelor's degree in food and nutrition, a nurse practitioner graduate program, a genetic counseling program, at least 1 year of an undergraduate medical degree in good standing, or have completed a recognized MD program. Our lab stream students have completed a 4-year bachelor's degree in a relevant discipline. And I've listed here some examples of majors that students have taken or have undertaken before starting the medical genomics program. But I'll note again here, this is not a like a set list. We have students who have come from many different majors who have entered this program. The other thing I wanted to point out is, although we have these two streams, the students in both of these streams actually move through the program together as a single cohort and take almost all of their classes together. They really take all of their classes together. It's just in a few areas where the streams will diverge. But the idea with moving through the classes together as a single cohort, the idea is that this shared training environment between the lab stream and the clinical stream allows students to better appreciate the role of genomics in clinical practice and also appreciate the lab work and analysis that goes into genetic testing before that test result is delivered to a patient. So we think that this allows for really insightful discussions amongst our students who are coming from these very diverse backgrounds. We always have to put a slide about tuition in here. So our tuition is set annually by the University of Toronto. The program has really no say in this. This again is an estimate for the tuition. The tuition for next year for domestic students hasn't been released yet. But for the last couple of years, it's been around a little upwards of $10,000 annually. International student tuition is approximately $44,000 annually. Tuition is independent of your stream of entry, and again, it's set by the university, not by the program. As a professional program, students aren't offered a research stipend because we're not primarily a research program, but I do want to note that all students are eligible for TA positions, for university work-study positions, and for Ontario graduate scholarships. Some of our students are also eligible for Temerity Faculty of Medicine needs-based bursary awards, student bank loans, and OSAP loans. So in terms of getting started, getting your application started, all of the information again is on our websites. So admissions can be found here. I think Martina is going to drop that into the chat, that link into the chat. Application procedures can be found here. So please take a look at the website if you have any questions, because we try to walk through the whole process on there. But in terms of getting started, all of the applications are submitted online through the School of Graduate Studies. Here's a link to this. And what I really wanted to point out is that we have 2 rounds of admissions each academic year. So if you're interested in applying for next fall, you can apply for the May 1st deadline. So I will note here that, again, we have two deadlines listed here. There's a SGS application deadline and a letters and documents deadline. So the reason why we have two deadlines, first of all, the May 1st deadline is when you have to click submit to your SGS document when you go to the SGS portal up here. You have to click, after you've submitted that application, you will have until May 15th to upload any supporting documents, and that is when your letters of reference will be due. So two application deadlines, or two deadlines. There's a January admissions, a May admissions. But if you're interested in applying for the fall, obviously you want to apply for the May application deadline for this fall. So what do you need to submit? You need to submit 3 letters. You need to ask for 3 letters of reference. You have to submit a scan of your transcripts, your CV, a transcript summary form, a letter of intent, and if you're an international applicant coming from a university outside of Canada, you may need to submit an English proficiency exam. In terms of your letters of reference, I just wanted to point out a couple of things. Your reference letter writers will automatically be contacted by the School of Graduate Studies once you submit your application. The other thing that, question we often get asked is, who should you ask to be a reference letter writer? So if you're a current student or a recent grad, the best people to write your reference letters are people who know you well in academic settings. So they may be it may be a course instructor who knows you well because it was a small course that you got to interact with them a lot. Maybe a research supervisor if you did an undergraduate research thesis. So someone who knows you well in an academic setting is really good. You can also ask someone who knows you well in a professional setting. And this is especially the case, if you've been working outside of the field for a while since graduation. But again, you want to ask someone who knows you well and in a professional or academic setting. The transcript summary form. The transcript summary form the goal of this form is to help our admissions committee assess how well your academic background prepares you for our program. So the categories, I just want to stress, the categories listed on this academic summary form are not a prerequisite. So you don't have to have had a course in every single one of these categories, but it just helps the admissions committee assess your transcript. I wanted to point out that on the Medical Genomics YouTube page, there is a video from a couple of years ago where a former student walked through how to fill out the transcript summary form. So if you're confused about that, please go search for that video. And then finally, just a note for any international applicants, please see our international students page for more details about the English proficiency requirement that you'll have. The other thing I wanted to point out, and we get questions quite a bit about in terms of the application, is the letter of intent and what you should write. So what makes a compelling letter of intent? So what should you write about? You should tell the admission committee why you're interested in the program and why the committee should be interested in you. It's your opportunity to kind of shine and to promote yourself. Don't be shy. You should tell the committee what your short-term and long-term plans are. Tell us about any relevant experiences that you've had. And tell us, optionally, if you've had any extenuating circumstances that might have impacted your grades. So this is an example of if maybe you have some grades that weren't great at one time and you want to explain that to committee, this is your opportunity to do so. What you don't need to do, you don't need to tell the committee your whole life story. You don't want to focus too much on things outside of academia or science or your clinical or professional work. And you don't need to focus too much on coursework. Some is okay, but you don't want your whole letter to just be rehashing your transcript. So after you submit your application, the admissions committee will review all the documents, they'll read everything, and then promising applicants will be invited for a short virtual interview online. After the virtual interview, the committee will meet, and the successful applicants will be offered admission to the program. So that's the kind of outline, the flow of how the application process works. So, should you do the medical genomics program? Well, we are looking for students who are interested in genomic medicine and want to become a professional, contributing to this evolving field and filling a need, working at the intersection of genetics and genomics research, clinical practice, informatics, bioinformatics and data analysis, bioethics, and really looking at these new biomedical technologies and how it can be integrated into all of these fields. So if you're interested, I would really encourage you to apply or talk to us more. So we're now accepting applications for September 2025. All of the information is up. My contact information is here, along with the email address for our medical genomics administrative page or administrative email. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I also have all of our social media links on here where you can learn more about the MedGen program. We're constantly posting new things there. And then again, we've linked to the program website, but again, our program website provides all of the information about the program and about the application process. So please check that out first before emailing questions, because that information actually might be on the website. And then finally, I also wanted to point out our student blog, the MedGen project, where students post various writing pieces that they've been working on during the program. So thank you so much for that. What is up next? So you've heard from me, but now you probably really want to hear from is some of the current students in the program. So up next, we're going to have a panel discussion led by Dr. Martina Steiner, one of the faculty members involved in the medical genomics program here at U of T. And we have 4 students joining us today. And then after that, there'll be an opportunity for you all to go into breakout rooms, chat with some current students and program faculty. So I will stop sharing now and pass the mic over to Martina.
Great. Thank you very much, Johanna. I'll be stopping the recording at this point.